Hi students, welcome to lesson number 6, Jajmani System. India is called a country of villages since nearly about 70% of the population lives in rural communities. One of the basic characteristics of a traditional socio-economic organization in a village is the Jajmani system. The village has been a basic and important unit in Indian social organization. In any occupationally diversified society, there must be a system whereby any one occupational specialist can obtain the goods and services at least some other groups of specialists. In this lesson, we are going to study about the nature of Jajmani system, which regulates the socio-economic interdependence of various castes. Such system featuring thought of in the Indian context as performing this function has been called the Jajmani system. Objectives of the lesson: to understand the nature of Jajmani system, to know the features and to understand the relationship existing among the working people in Jajmani system, to know the changes in the Jajmani system. Jajmani system is a system of traditional occupational obligations. Castes in early India were economically interdependent on one another. The traditional specialized occupation of a villager followed the specialization assigned to his caste. The specialization of occupation led to exchange of services in the village society. This relationship between the service and the served caste was not contractual, individual, impersonal, temporary or limited, but it was caste oriented, long term and broadly supportive. This system, with the durable relation between a land owning family and the landless families that supply them with goods and services, is called the Jajmani system. Definition and nature of Jajmani system. According to Harold Gould, the Jajmani system is an interfamilial, intercaste relationship pertaining to the patterning of superordinate-subordinate relationship between patrons and suppliers of services. The patrons are the families of clean caste, while the suppliers of services are the families of lower and unclean caste. It is observed that the Jajmani system is a system of distribution whereby land-owning families of high caste are provided services and products by various lower caste such as carpenters, kati, barbers, nai, potters, kumhar. Blacksmith servicing caste are called kamins, while the caste served are called jajmans. For the services rendered, the servicing caste are aid in cash or in kind, the grains, fodder, clothes and animal products like milk, butter, etc. Yogendra Singh describes Jajmani system as a system governed by relationship based on reciprocity in intercaste relations in villages, and Ishwaran, referring to this system called Aya in Mysore in South India, has said that it is a system in which each caste has a role to play in a community life as a whole. This role consists of economic, social and moral functions. The term Jajman originally referred to the client for whom a Brahmin priest performed rituals, but later on it came to be referred to as the patron or recipient of specialized services. Bedelman has pointed out that for the providers of goods and services, besides the term Kamin, other terms like Purjan, Pardhan, etc. are also used in different regions. The Jajmans under this system is one who receives the services and Kamin is one who renders the services, according to Weiser, who first labelled the system as Jajmani system based on reciprocity in intercaste relations in villages. In his book The Hindu Jajmani System 1936, based upon a study of a village in Uttar Pradesh, according to him, within a village each caste has a form of service to perform for the others. The various castes of the village are interrelated in a service capacity. Each serves the other, each has its own clientele which has become established through custom and which continues from generation to generation. This relationship, once established, cannot be broken easily, and the servicing party may choose to sell his rights to another. It is heritable and sometimes transferable. Fixation of rate of payment is made by a Jajman for the goods and services he receives. A system of distribution in Indian villages whereby high caste land owning families called Jajmans are provided services and products by various lower castes such as carpenters, potters, blacksmiths and washermen, etc. According to Kolenda, in Indian village, the peasant and upper caste are usually the Jajmans and the service caste is the Kamins. This system explains the occupational division of labor in an agricultural village with the distribution of services and products under a network of role relationship and payments. Tradition approves of such an arrangement and mutual trust and interdependence ensures its continuity. The word Jajman has been derived from a Sanskrit term Yajman, which means a man who performs yagna, a sacred rite. According to Verma, the Vedic literature is full of the use of the term Yajman, and here we find references to the family priest Purohit praying to God for the prosperity of his Yajman. This Pandit becomes a permanent family priest, and in the course of time his sons and grandsons would again do his Jajman rites over the family. Hence, the present Jajmani system is said to have its own roots in the customary sacred performance of the attached family priest for the welfare of Jajman. The other functional castes like barber, potter, goldsmith, carpenter and washerman who helped in yagna followed suit and adopted a similar pattern of hereditary service. The same pattern of labor supply came to be practiced even in the agrarian structure, and a few more castes that were useful for the agriculturalist came to be being with Jajmani rights and duties. Thus, then Jajmani relationship has acquired implications concerned more with the aspects of Jajmani relationship, and in fact, the Jajmani system exhibits both the economic and the ritual aspects of Indian rural social organization based on caste. The strength of the system depends not on actual payments made, but concessions granted to the different occupational groups like free residence, free land, free food for animals, etc. These concessions do not apply equally to all, but vary according to the custom. The stability of the caste monopolies is enforced by family inheritance, that is, the right to serve a particular family, the right of making plows or for periodically shaving the heads of its male members or of washing its clothes is treated as a heritable and divisible right. Thus, then partitioned brothers of a barber family divide among themselves the families which they were all jointly servicing before partition. The usual way of paying for services was in the form of grain without much exchange of money, for it is not open market, but economy and ties between Jajmani and Kamin are not like those of an employer or an employee in a capitalistic mode of production. The Jajmani system, according to Bedelman, viewed as a feudalistic system, prescribed hereditary obligations of payments and of occupational and ceremonial duties between 2 or 3 more specific families of different caste in the same locality. It reflects the socio-economic and religious gradation, sanctions and specializations inherent in the caste hierarchy. Any failure to abide by the order of caste and family inevitably lends to conflict within the system. Since there is no basis of interrelationship without these different occupational and ceremonial needs and duties upon a traditional dependence of non-holding families, land-holding families, which involves a distribution of some products to all the local areas, the system must be considered feudalistic. The system expresses a power and economic factors are determinants of rank. The two bases of the system are caste duties and possession of land. The landowners require services, they need not perform services to others. They are the Jajmans but not Kamins. Very few or none of the high caste perform services to other caste. The services, payments and ceremonies connected with various castes within Jajmani relationship tend to reinforce the values of inequality inherent in the caste system. Numerical strength or political superiority and land tenure are the two most important determinants of economic power of the Jajman. In comparison to the Jajmans, the strength of the Kamins is much less. As such, the focus of power in the system lies with the Kamin services, then the Kamin strength is entirely lost. However, Traditionally, the caste councils interfere and try to do justice to the aggrieved commune. The cultural value in the Jajmani system is that generosity and charity are religious obligations and inequality is God-given. The sacred, semi-sacred and the secular Hindu literature and oral traditions authorized and justify the Jajman-Kamin relationship. The caste council has the power to punishing erring Jajmans and Kamins. At the same time, the sanctions permit that the Kamin may not perform the required services and the Jajmans also may take away land rented or granted to Kamin. Features of the Jajmani system. The basic features of Jajmani system are as follows. The members in a village community have an agreement with other members and who perform different services or produce different goods, whereby these groups are enabled to exchange the products which they control. For example, the relationship of artisan and service caste members of the land owning or farming caste. Further, the service caste also render ritual and occupational services to one another, and here everyone is a master and servant at the same time. Jajmani alliances are between families and not between the caste, but the family alliances are heritable at the lineage level, that is, descendants of the family which had an alliance with family B inherit their lineage's alliance with members of lineage B. Thus, the alliance operates between families, but its continuity is in the lineage. The alliance are between families rather than caste. It is at the caste level that they are maintained and enforced. If family A wants to break traditional relationship with family B, other members of B's caste will support their caste men by boycotting A, so that it cannot be obtained from other sources the types of services supplied. One of the enforcing mechanisms of system is the assumption that family A needs the services of family as it cannot or will not perform these functions itself. The system based upon the assumption that certain occupations impinge upon concepts of ritual purity, and this rationalizes the ranking of caste occupation groups. Some services like religious duties can be performed only by members of high caste, while others like works in leather should be performed only by the members of the low caste. Similarly, washing on occasion of rituals involving pollution are performed by the washermen, hence these service castes are called pollution absorbers. Thus, the purity pollution aspect of caste and the extension of this to Jajmani relations are emphasized. The system is functioning to preserve the Hindu moral premises. Not only does everyone have some place within the Hindu system, but it is significant that every group from the priest to the leather worker had been somehow integrated into the economic and ceremonial ground of the community and has been given some opportunity to feel indispensable as part of the society. Payment of goods and services received under the Jajmani system is generally not in cash, but grain and other benefits. The remuneration for goods and services supplied to any family appears to remain more or less constant from generation to generation and presumably is proportionate to the size or needs of receiving family, that is the Jajman. This system in a way assures a minimum amount of payment to the service caste to make a living, while the Jajmans, particularly the agriculturists, are assured of the special services of various occupational groups. The service caste are assured of certain minimum annual payments for making a living and maintaining. Understanding the pattern of working relationship. The pattern of working relationship existing in Jajmani system is described in different ways by different sociologists. Sometimes the relationship between two or more castes based on supplying a few things may only be contractual, but not Jajmani. For example, the weaver who is paid in cash for what he makes and sells is not entitled to customary share of the harvest. He is not a Kamin and the purchaser is not his Jajman. In Jajmani relations, there may be some products of services that may be contracted and paid for separately. For example, the rope makers in a village may supply farmers under Jajmani arrangements all necessary ropes except the rope used in wells which especially long and thick and for which special payment has to be made. The Jajmani relations entail ritual matters and social support as well as economic exchanges. The servicing caste perform the ritual and ceremonial duties at the Jajman's house on occasions like birth, marriage and death. D. N. Majumdar has given the example of Thakur family, the Rajput caste, in a village in Lucknow district in Uttar Pradesh, which served by as many as 10 caste families for the life cycle rites. For example, at the birth feast of a child, Brahmin presides over the ceremony of Nam Samskaran, giving a name. Sonar goldsmith provides the gold ornament for the newborn. Dhobi, washerman, washes soiled clothes, and Nai barber carries messages. Khati, the carpenter, provides a wooden stool, patta, on which the child is seated for the ceremony. Lohar, blacksmith, provides kara, the iron bangle, and Kumhar, potter, provides the kulhar, jugs for keeping cooked vegetables and drinking water. The Pasi provides petal leaf, plates for taking food, and Bhangi, the scavenger, cleans the place after the feast. All people who helped receive gifts of food, money and clothes, depending partly on custom, partly on Jajman's affluence and partly on the recipient's entreaty. The Kamins not only provides goods to their Jajmans, but also performs those tasks for them which pollute them, the Jajmans. For example, washing of soiled cloths by Dhobis, cutting of hair, nails, delivery of the newborn baby by Nai, cleaning toilets, Bangis and so on. Though these castes are themselves ranked as lower caste, yet they do not serve as Kamins to Harijans, not to the Brahmins, take these lower caste as their Jajmans. However, when then lower caste families prosper, they discard their polluting occupants and try to get ritual specialists to serve them. According to Leach, the Jajmani system maintains and regulates division of labor and economic interdependence of the caste. Weiser has said that the Jajmani system serves to maintain the Indian village as a self-sufficing community, and Jajmani system distributes agricultural produce in exchange for manual and craft services. For instance, a classification of Jajmani relationship set up by due categories these relationships according to the types of roles involved. The one, services to the agriculturist having a direct bearing on their agricultural activities as such, and no immediate payment is expected for services of this kind. Services rendered to the agriculturist as well as to many non-agriculturists having a bearing on their socio-religious life. Services rendered to other occupational castes in return for their traditional services. As such, no cash payment is either expected or made, as it is in the nature of exchange of services. Services rendered for cash payment. Kamin may sell his rights to a client to another Kamin. The important thing in the role relationship is that free food, free clothes, free residence, rent-free land, casual aid and the litigation and protection are provided to Kamins by Jajmans during various exigencies of life. According to Biedelman, categorize these relationships into three types considering their dependence upon the land: direct, partially indirect and indirect. The first type of relations involves those artisans and workers who serve only the landowners. For example, the carpenter makes plough and other wooden tools necessary for agricultural operations. The second type includes relations with potters, barbers, carpenters and washermen, etc., who provide services both to the land as well as to the landless. And the third type involves relations between various local artisans which involve service exchange only. Changes in the Jajmani system. During recent times, various forces have acted on the system and brought forth significant changes in the Jajmani-Kamin relations. The reasons for change in the system may be due to rise in prices, rapid growth of large towns and spread of school education, urban contacts, education and attraction of more lucrative jobs. Elsewhere have their impact on the system. The preference for cash payments is on the increase and the mutual exchange of services between occupational caste is gradually breaking down. Several village studies conducted in this area point out that the breakdown of local economic system, the complex series of conflicts resulting from population pressure such as disproportion of Jajmani to Kamin in some areas, underemployment, scarcity of grain, introduction of cash crops, changes in caste values and occupation, changes in land tenure laws, etc. as a factor responsible for the disintegration of the system. The outside influences of national and international markets tempted Jajmani to sell grain rather than to pay it to Kamins. Kamins also desire cash as payment in order to obtain importer goods and tends to hurt the Jajmans with small holdings who cannot afford to sell the produce. The structural changes such as the abolition of Jagirdari and Zamindari systems and decline in the solidarity of the caste system and the caste panchayat have also weakened the role of Jajmani system. With the change in occupation of any person of any caste who works for remuneration enters the Jajmani system, but as a new artisan this person may not have any ritual role to play and as a result bargaining over remuneration now is valued in terms of market values. The importance given to ritual aspect has also changed, undermining the traditional unity of the village. Thus, many changes are taking place in Jajmani system with regard to nature of service and the mode of payment. In any occupationally diversified society, there must be a system whereby any one occupational specialist can obtain the goods and or service of at least some other groups of specialists. The system performing this function has been called the Jajmani system. Rise in prices, rapid growth of large towns and spread of school education have brought significant changes in the system.